So right in the middle of winter, they burned down the chicken coop. I'll get into that a little bit more in detail. As you know, I kind of progress throughout my video discussing different topics as I get into the main topic, just how it works when you are doing the storytelling. It's about 18 degrees outside, wind chill of about 10 degrees. So I thought I'd come inside and do the video today in front of the wood stove. I know a lot of people like watching the wood stove. My watch time on my videos is so much better because I think people get mesmerized by the wood stove. I told you a while back that we had a moisture problem, getting off subject just a little bit, in the attic. So I drilled some holes and put some vents in the side of the gable portions. And then underneath the fascia or whatever that is, I drilled some holes there too so we could get some ventilation up in it. Moisture has went away. There's 6 inches of insulation in our ceiling. We have noticed that the house is cooling off a little bit quicker than it used to since we drilled the holes. So what I'm thinking is with that wind being so brisk today, that it's just sucking out any heat that might have been in the attic, just kind of blowing it right through. There's no drafts in the house other than those vents. I've sealed everything up nice and tight when I built it. So the heat from the fire this morning only lasted about 6 hours. Normally we can get about 8 hours out of it. But it's just really cold, so it is what it is. It's not uncomfortable. So you know that we can our food. We're carnivores, and so anytime we find a sale at the store, we can it. And we have different varieties of canned meat, and how we can it, well, that's chicken also. So this is chicken. This is chicken. This is a metal lid. This is a reusable Tadler lid. The ring, it's a 2-component system. You got a rubber gasket there, and then you got the plastic lid. The rubber gasket lasts 10 uses, and then you're supposed to replace it. Now the box on the rubber gasket, these are really nice because now we don't have to buy lids anymore. We've got enough gaskets to last the rest of our life. There's just no way we could use that many gaskets. And it wasn't that huge of a cost. They're more expensive than metal lids, but when you break down 10 uses for the rubber gasket and lifetime uses for the plastic lid, they come in a lot cheaper than the metal lid. I forget what the cost breakdown is, like, I don't know, 9 cents for the metal lid, and it was like, I don't know, 0.0001. It was ridiculously low. We have 2 pressure canners. They hold 10 jars each, 10 pint jars, 7 quart jars, but we pretty much only can with pint. Now, the only time we use quart jars is when we're making broth. So we take the chicken, cook the chicken, like if we're going to can chicken, we cook it, debone it, and then all that broth is remaining. Not that we use it that much, but it does enhance the flavor. We used to make chicken noodle soup, but since we became carnivores, we're not eating soup anymore because the noodles are carbohydrates. Well, we've canned pork and hamburger, bacon, but there's a hot pack and a cold pack. The cold pack is like when you find a pork roast and you cut it up in little pieces. Instead of having to cook it first, like we do with the chicken to get it off the bone, you can just put the pork in there and it'll cook when you're canning it. The chicken is an all-day process. Now I know some people will say, hey, you can can the bone also. You can. Yes, you can. We noticed that if a bone gets in there, it just crumbles in your hand. You can chew it up, you can eat it. Well, recently we just bought a freezer right here, and now it is completely full. So there's about 200 pounds of food in that. And Carolyn and I eat about a pound of food total together per meal. So for lunch, we eat primarily eggs. Of course, we'll get some bacon sometimes or ham with our eggs. And then at supper time, it's usually just meat. Hopefully this summer, the chickens will give us enough eggs that we can pretty much eat eggs both for lunch and supper, getting us away from having to use our meat products. I enjoy canning. It's kind of a hobby for me. I really like it. There's a lot of science in it. Now I know that the men in my channel hate the idea of canning. Every time I do a canning video, it tanks, it does terrible. The majority of my channel are men. Now I will get people in the conversation that are men and women. I love the canning videos. I don't care what everybody else likes. Make the canning videos. Well, it doesn't make sense to make a video that only a few people are gonna watch. What I will say though is if you wanna watch my canning videos, you can go to my playlist, go to my channel, There's some tabs at the top that says videos and community. And anyway, eventually you'll see playlist. Click playlist, scroll down until you see the canning videos, and then you can just click one and they'll all play one after another. And like I said, there's hamburger and pork and Tadler lids, regular lids. I couldn't make a video a while back, so I posted a previously recorded canning video just a few days ago, and it didn't do well. So we got this freezer. The freezer was probably the best thing we could have done. I'm going to explain this a little bit. I know some people are going to say, hey, you're repeating yourself. Well, I have to, because there's new people to the channel. We had a refrigerator. It was a little dorm-sized refrigerator. Had a freezer, had a refrigerator. Well, we went shopping one day, and when we got home, it wasn't working. And I watch it really close on those days, make sure that it's working, because we got to freeze all that meat. It's 30 days worth of meat we have to freeze. Well, in that case, we had about 80 pounds of meat, so we were going to can a bunch of meat also. So Carolyn's grinding up the meat, packaging the meat into individual packages, and she gets about halfway done, and I say, I don't think this freezer's working, or the refrigerator's working. We decide we're going to go to Walmart and get another refrigerator. Well, on our way, Carolyn says, I don't want a refrigerator. I want a freezer. I'm like, how are we going to do that? We need a refrigerator for all the other stuff. Well, believe it or not, just like every aspect of our lives, when we minimize our lives, things seem to work out where we don't need the thing that we thought we needed. It turned out we don't need a refrigerator. We got a cooler, and so some of the cheeses that we use, we might put in the cooler. But most of the cheese she put in the freezer, and when she wants cheese, then we can put it into a smaller cooler. We got this big chest cooler. We can get one of those little lunchbox igloo coolers, which we're going to find. As soon as we find one, we're going to get it. And we could use that just fine as a cooler for the cheeses. That's it. And the other thing is we feed the cat, or the chicken, and we also feed her, just so everybody knows, we also feed her the dry food. But the chicken gives her all the nutrition she wants, and we give that to her 2 times a day, and she can have this anytime she wants. I have to keep that refrigerated also when we open it, because I only give her a couple forkfuls, not very much. So we got the freezer. Now it's full. The solar panels seem to be doing an okay job keeping it powered. Of course, it's wintertime. Now people are going to say, you need to get more batteries. They're going to tell me a million different things, what I need to do. We could do a lot of things, but when you're trying to do everything on a budget, you try to figure out the best way of doing things, what's best for you. I think that we need another battery. Let me explain why I say I think. In colder temperatures, battery voltage drops. Well, when it warms back up, the battery's not damaged. Usually when a battery gets below 12.3 volts, half the life of the battery. So if it was going to last a year or 2 years or however long it was going to last, now it only lasts half of that. And if you do it again, it's going to be half of that, every time you do it. Well, it's been getting down to 12.1 volts. And this happened to me last year also. It got below 12.1. But when summer hit, batteries were fine. Didn't have any problems. So I don't want to overreact and say I need batteries. On the other hand, I don't want to hurt or harm the batteries that I currently have. So I've been charging them with the generator. When I say charge them with the generator, I have solar panels, but with it being so cloudy so much in the wintertime, getting more batteries would not solve this problem. If you have cloudy days for a month or cloudy days for a week, how many batteries should you get? Also with lead acid batteries, you have to kind of keep them charged above 7 volts at least once a day. You're supposed to get that up above 13.7 just for a brief second. If you're cloudy and you're not getting your batteries up above 13.7, then you got to charge them with the generator. Now people are going to say you get lead acid. That's a whole different argument. And this video could go off in a million different directions. But I'm going to wait until summertime to see if I need to get another battery. If it's like last year, I'm going to say no. I get the sense, it's just a feeling I have, that this thing is not using as much of electric as the refrigerator did. That being said, I think it's kicking on more often. Let's say the refrigerator used 100 watts per run hour. This one's only using 90 watts per run hour. But I think it's running more, but I'm not sure how much more. So I got to work all that out, but it's best to do that in the summertime. I was concerned that now we have the freezer that we would never use these. Today, right before this video, I asked her, are we not going to can anymore? I mean, we've got a huge investment with all these jars and the canner, and I like doing it. And she said, yeah, of course we are. We have so many jars, and it's getting, up there in age. They're like a year and a half now. They're starting to get pretty old. So she would like to get some of this ate up before we start canning more. As you know, there's a chicken shortage in the country. The other problem I think we're having, this could be considered a conspiracy theory, is there were a lot of food production plants and chicken coops and different things that caught on fire last year. Now, people are going to say that's a conspiracy theory. Bloomberg News data shows news stories for food plant fires, I'm reading it here, jumped the most in a decade last year. I don't know how many that means, but they have more stories about food plant fires than any other time. Now, that could mean that the media is hyping up the fires. There might have been the same number of fires the year before as last year, but they were just reporting them more. Who knows? But others are going to say, no, there were just more fires. Well, it's kind of starting back up. It died down for a little bit. So there was a chicken coop in Connecticut. So it was a 400 by 150 foot chicken coop. It could hold 100,000 chickens. These chickens produced eggs. They weren't meat birds, so probably like leghorn chickens. They can produce about 350 eggs per year. So 100,000 times 350 per year, that's how many eggs you're going to lose out for that one chicken coop. The thing you have to understand about chickens is you got to wait 6 or 8 months before the chickens will start producing again. So they have to incubate more chickens. Now they have to incubate 100,000 chickens to replace the chickens they have. That means there's going to be 100,000 less eggs going to market because those have to be incubated. Now this is the largest egg producer in the United States. It's called Hillendale, and they deliver to most of the stores in the United States. So I can suspect that egg prices are going to go up again. As bad as it is, I don't think that 100,000 chickens sounds like a horrible number, but when you take 100,000 chickens off a market, when we're already slow with egg production because of the bird flu, I think this is pretty significant. And just the other day I made a video where I was showing you how to make your own chicken food, and I'm going to put an up next box at the end of this video to that video so you can learn how to make your own chicken food, because now we're having problems with producers at home, backyard chicken egg producers. Their chickens have stopped producing, and it sounds like that the Tractor Supply store may have some issues with their suppliers producing chicken food with less protein in it. So I'm once again going to strongly suggest that you start producing your own eggs. If we get to a point where there's no eggs, you're going to be the man on the street selling eggs for an outrageous price and making a good profit on them. So if you'll click this up next box to take that video where I was talking about how to make your own chicken food. So I hope I can inspire you to be more self-reliant. Sing of your dreams. Thanks for watching.